Let's get started on writing our first message to the server synchronously with our Hello World example. In your workspace, navigate to the folder Developer Training, then Source, Main, Java, SN Training, and the Hello World folder. Inside of that folder, open helloworld.java. You can see we have a class Hello World here, with a main method at the bottom that will execute at the end of this video. In this main method, we first call createClient, which will return a client. If we take a look at createClient, you can see that the createClient method will call the Pulsar client builder, where we have to pass in things like the service URL, authentication, which calls getAuth, as well as a few other items before executing build and then returning the client. Inside of the getAuth method, we do have the credentials URL, which we have to edit, and we have to make sure that this file path here points to this file that you've dropped into your workspace. So I'm going to edit mine here, and it's going to be sn-dev-advocate-student 30 hyphen, and then I have some additional items here. So you will have to make sure that this matches the file that was provided to you. Next, we see that we have a to-do list. So after the client is created, we're going to need to create a producer with a schema string. We write one string message to the topic Hello World, and then we'll close the producer. After the producer's closed, the existing code here will close the client. So let's get started on first creating the producer. The producer is created by first making a producer object, and I start by setting it to null. Inside of a try-catch, I'll then use the client to create the new producer. So let me set up the try-catch first. And the catch is going to have the Pulsar client exception, because that is the type of exception that can be returned. And I'm just going to do a print stack trace. We're not going to work on exceptions in the course. And then in the try, we use the client and call new producer on the client and pass in the schema that's going to be used. We also have to specify the topic. And I usually pass it in as a string, so I'll just put that as topic for now, and then .create. And then the create method is synchronous, so this would be a blocking call, and it returns the producer. So we're going to then set our producer variable to the client.newProducer. This topic variable I need to create, and that will be a string. And this would be persistent. And then we have to start by doing the tenant that you're using. And since I'm student 30 based on this file here, I'm going to put my tenant as student 30. If you have a different student number, you should use that one there. Inside of that tenant, we've already created a namespace for you called developer. So we all use developer there. And then you specify a topic name of where you want to write the message to. And if that topic doesn't exist, it will get created for you. However, at the namespace level, it would not automatically create a new namespace for you. So only this one you can create on the fly. Next, we're going to use this producer to write a new message. So I'm going to start by making my string message just say hello world. I'll copy and paste my try catch block because the next synchronous action will be to write the message, which will also potentially pass back a Pulsar client exception. So inside of here, I'm going to use the producer object to call new message. And then I specify the value as this message string, passing that in, and say send. The send will be synchronous, and if there's an exception, it will get caught in this try catch. To help us out a little bit, I'm also going to print the message out to the terminal. I'm going to say published message, and then write the message out. I'll say to topic, we'll say synchronously, to topic, and then we'll write topic. Add another space in here and finish that off. Finally, we need to close the producer. That will also be done inside of a try catch. Just putting these all separately. So I will do producer.close. And then finally, the code that already existed here is to close the client. Let's go ahead and execute this code. I want to start up by making sure your terminal is open here at the bottom. If you don't see it, go to the sandwich here and go to terminal and say new terminal. A bash should already show up, similar to what I have here. If you need one, you can always hit the plus icon here. We will eventually have multiple bashes open at a time, but for now we just need one. I'm currently in my workspace, so I need to move into the developer training folder. So I will do cd developer training. And then I need to execute my main method. I have the command here at the top to execute that. And I can just copy that here. And if I paste that into my developer training, let's go ahead and compile this code. The code also executed, and you can see here that it says published message hello world synchronously to topic, and it listed out the topic. The client closed was false because I check if it's explicitly closed or not here and print it out. Then I close it, check if it's closed, and it says true, and then we exit the program.